Percy runs his course.
Thomas the Tank Engine was in a mess. A faulty set of points had sent him onto a siding at full speed, and he crashed into a deep mud hole. Luckily, no one was hurt, but Thomas's buffers were mangled. Soon Percy arrived with a crane, and Thomas was hauled out.
Don't worry. I'll get you to the works, and you'll be back on your branch line in no time at all.
Thomas was still upset.
Do take care of Annie and Clarabelle while I'm away,
he said.
Oh, we'll be fine,
called Annie.
Indeed. Percy's taken us just as much as you have,
added Clarabelle. Well, good luck, said Thomas as Percy pulled him to the works. The next day, Percy took Annie and Clarabelle for a run. It was a beautiful day. Annie and Clarabelle had bright smiles on their faces as they puffed through the Sodor countryside.
It's nice to be taking you two for a change instead of stone from the quarry,
called Percy.
We couldn't agree more, said Clarabelle. We love Thomas, but at least you know how to control your speed,
added Annie. At the station, Bertie was collecting passengers from the bus stop. He was surprised to see Percy.
Morning, Percy. What brings you up this way today? Thomas has had an accident. I'm taking Annie and Clarabelle while he's in the works. Well, care for a race? I don't want to bump the coaches, replied Percy. Oh, go on. We're used to it at this point anyway, chuckled Annie. Well, only if you two say it's okay. Bertie, you're on.
In just a few moments, the guard blew his whistle and the race began. Bertie started quickly, but it didn't take Percy long to catch up. The two were side by side as they reached the tunnel.
Go it,
called Bertie's driver. He raced over the hill at top speed and quickly cleared it. Meanwhile, Percy was in the tunnel. He didn't like going fast, and when he couldn't see well, he slowed down. As he exited the tunnel, there was Bertie far ahead approaching the station.
Bother, we've lost,
groaned Percy.
Better luck next time, Percy. You should take racing lessons from Thomas,
Bertie teased.
Well, what about a rematch tomorrow?
asked Percy.
You're on,
agreed Bertie. The next morning, Percy was looking forward to his rematch with Bertie.
I'm going to beat that bright red bus today,
he laughed. Just then, the fat controller came to see him. Percy, good to see you handling the branch line well.
Thank you, sir,
Percy responded. Anyways, the weather forecast calls for extreme temperatures today. Wouldn't be surprised if you find a few bumpy spots in the rails, so mind your speed. But Percy wasn't paying attention.
And I'll race right into the station before he even knows what hit.
Percy! Boomed the fat controller. Percy jumped.
Oh, sir, yes, sir. I've got it, sir.
Just please be careful, Percy, said the fat controller sternly. And Percy started off. At the junction, he met Bertie.
You're going to regret this rematch, Percy,
barked Bertie.
I wouldn't be so sure, Bertie,
retorted Percy. The station master held up his flag and said, Are you ready? Go! Once he got up enough steam, Percy drew in front of Bertie, going faster and faster. Annie and Clarabelle enjoyed it for a moment, but soon they weren't so happy.
We're going too fast! We're going too fast!
But Percy wasn't listening. The weather that day was hot and miserable. The stretch of rails at the windmill marsh had been warped and bent out of place, but no one had noticed yet. As Percy approached, his driver tried to take control, but Percy was going too fast to pay attention. He applied his brakes, but it was too late. Percy hit the bent tracks and went flying off into the marsh, taking Annie and Clarabelle with him.
Oh no!
He cried. Oh, you've done it now, said the driver. But there was nothing they could do. The passengers weren't hurt, but they were cross. They stuck their heads from the coach windows and started yelling about what a bad railway it was. Then they told Percy how bad he was instead. At the end of the line, Bertie had arrived, let off and picked up more passengers, and Percy still hadn't arrived. Just then, Toby arrived with stone from the quarry. "Good morning, Bertie. Where's Percy?"
I'm not sure. Actually, we were having a race, and now he's disappeared.
Pondered Toby. "Worry not, Bertie. I'll take this lot of stone to the station and then see where Percy's gone." "Well, what's happened here?" asked Toby, but Percy's reply was gurgled from under the marsh. "No worries, I'll be back shortly." Soon Toby returned with the breakdown train, and Percy, Annie, and Clarabelle were hauled from the marsh. Percy felt rather embarrassed. That night, Percy and Toby sat in the shed when Thomas puffed in. "Good evening, you two."
Oh, Thomas, how was the works?
"Oh, you wouldn't believe it. James steamed in for the men to fix a tiny scratch and wanted them to stop tending to me to fix his paint. How vain."
That's pretty funny, Thomas.
"So, how were things here?"
Things were pretty good, actually."
But Percy couldn't keep up the charade any longer.
"Oh, Thomas,"
cried Percy, and he told Thomas what happened. He thought Thomas would be cross, but Thomas just smiled.
"Oh, that? Where do you think Annie and Clarabelle went afterwards?
They told me everything, and frankly, it's quite funny. Now, just promise not to be tempted into racing that bus again."
"Well, I can't say for sure,"
laughed Percy. And then the three friends joked of nothing but races and marshes for the rest of the evening. And then they fell happily asleep.